Hello everyone, welcome to Res Snapper. My name's MJ and today we are looking at the Deadpool season. I'm extremely excited because I think this season looks very, very cool indeed. We're going to be looking at all of the cards and giving our star ratings before we actually get to play with them and see if they're actually any good. But here are my ratings and thoughts. So, kicking off with the Season Pass card, Gwenpool. She's a 4 energy, 6 power card. On reveal, pick a random card in your hand 3 times, give +2 power each time. Key synergies that I've put on the screen here. I mean, I've said Grandmaster and Nimrod. There is like plenty of others, and very soon on the channel I will have a Snap or Pass video where I'll be looking at all of the synergies in depth and some deck ideas. I've got several really good decks. One in particular I think is absolute pure spice. So I'm really looking forward to sharing that video with you all. So yeah, I've said Grandmaster and Nimrod, but honestly, I think Gwenpool is very much a decent plug and play card. 4/6, you're generally not going to feel bad just playing her out. Like 4/6 is not a bad stat line. You're generally not too upset playing that. And in actuality, if you maximise the value from Gwenpool by literally just playing the cards that she's hit, then she's a 4/12, the equivalent of 4/12. And then if you actually skew your deck towards trying to benefit off of synergy of plus power, then you can hit that even higher. So Nimrod obviously creates copies of itself when it is destroyed. So you're actually multiplying. So you're multiplying the power that you actually get from the buff from Gwenpool. So I think Nimrod is a really interesting one. And how about Galactus, guys? Say you dump your hand. I mean, if Galactus is the only card in your hand, like, it's not totally impossible depending on the kind of deck you're creating. You can give a +6 to Galactus. That gives you a 6/11 Galactus, which is potentially nothing to sniff at whatsoever. Throw Nimrod in there as well, by the way. Maybe Nimrod gets tagged a little bit. You can change your mind and stuff. So yeah, there's some interesting stuff here. But outside of that, things like Black Panther, Iron Man. We discussed a little bit about this when we talked about Fastos a few weeks ago as well. There's a lot of cards that benefit from gaining power. Sure, you know. So there's actually a decent number of cards that would benefit from Gwenpool. I mean, hey, let me just throw out one idea of a couple of 3-cost cards. Sure, and Gladiator. If Gladiator gets tagged once, he's only, you know, it gives him that extra point of power for things that he is going to be able to destroy. And sure, of course, just gets the extra +2 every time you do buff. So the +2 from Gwenpool becomes +4, plus getting hit twice by Gwenpool because it is 3 individual times as well. And these benefits really do start to snowball. So I've given Gwenpool 4 stars. I think she's very good. Like I say, I think she's got a decent element of plug and play to her. And I'm really excited to see the combo potential. I think she's strong. Let's move on to Hydra Bob. Now, I actually gave Hydra Bob a last-minute star rating increase. Let's talk about him. He's a 1/4. After each turn, this moves if a player snapped. As you can see, I've given him 3 stars. I moved this up from 2 stars because I moved him up after I did my Snap or Pass video, after I filmed it, which I filmed... Well, actually, that's a complete lie. That is actually completely untruthful. I haven't filmed that video yet. I've just created the slides for it. Anyway, yeah, Hydra Bob, slightly better than at first I thought. Yes, the fact that he moves when a player snaps means that not only do you have a little bit of agency about when he moves, but you're committing to that movement by, like, saying to your opponent that you're confident that you're going to win. They have the agency to then move Hydra Bob again by snapping you back, or maybe they snapped first. So there is a really difficult element of Hydra Bob that is unreliability. As we saw with Makari will find ways to screw you. She will fill locations. The Hydra Bob will go to the wrong location. This also presents awkward situations where there might be like bar with no name. So you feel like you can not snap, even though you might be in a strong position because Hydra Bob could move there. Yeah, that's interesting stuff. But in terms of synergies, Craven is an obvious one here. Again, it's not one that you can control. So you would probably want to be playing Craven alongside Hydra Bob in more of a move style deck, so you've got more things that trigger off of it. However, a really key one that I do think will be really good is Miles Morales. With his recent buff to Force 6, he's also just gained a new lease of life. And I have a very, very slight bubble in my throat. You might have heard it's slightly changed the acoustics. I'm just going to swallow the bubble. So yeah, I'm sorry about that. But yeah, 3 stars. I think he's good. I haven't really spoken about his upsides. I mean, he's a 1/4. Right, he's literally a pure 1/4. So yes, he's weak to Killmonger, but otherwise, he is putting down a lot of power that can't be like Shadow Kinged or whatever. So, do you know what? I think he's actually alright. Moving on to Ajax. Ajax was recently, like, sort of nerfed, I suppose. Well, can a card really be nerfed if it hasn't even released yet? I don't know, you be the judge of that. But basically, he is a 5/5 with the ongoing power +1 power for each card in play afflicted with negative power. This is very interesting. And I'm not sure... I reckon this might age badly. I've given him 2 stars. I'm not sure if I'm coming in too low. Yes, he's a 5/5, so he's a lot of energy for potentially not much power. And his synergy is very interesting because generally it's a negative effect. Yes, in these kinds of toxic decks you want to afflict your opponent. First of all, they can just outright counter it with Luke Cage, which takes Ajax down completely. And yeah, but just the opportunities to do this, I'm just not sure. I will say there are some interesting lines. So if you look at something like Ajax into Mystique on the final turn, if you're playing like a flood deck, like Shanna was in there, Mysterio was in there, maybe you got Mockingbird down and all this sort of thing. So you've basically flooded your board with Zoo style stuff up until turn 5. Then you've got Ajax down, and then the final turn you can Mystique and then Hazmat. Very interesting. Or even Mystique. Could you Titanium? No, can you stick to... I don't know if you can stick Titanium then. Anyway, Hazmat going off, ticking everything. In theory, in Marvel Snap, there is 24 spots. Like 24 spots for cards. So that could be 24 potential power. Or he's unlikely to be inflicted himself. So maybe 23 power. Maybe the Mystique isn't either. So 22 power. Still, that puts him up to like a 27. And it puts Mystique to like a 22. That's pretty strong to sort of skyrocket on the final turn. So there is that element of the fact that if you play Ajax on 5, you might not have any affliction in like on the board, and so maybe you don't even have priority, and then it's only after the fact that you then skyrocket. There's also other interesting synergies like Typhoid Mary, because Typhoid Mary's affliction power is just automatic. It's just automatic and ongoing. That might work quite well with Ajax as well. But affliction is such a tough thing. You have got such a strong, or your opponent has got such a strong counter and solution to it in Luke Cage, that I'm just not convinced that Ajax is going to come out too hot. Like I say, it's a hard one to evaluate because maybe there is opportunity here. But yeah, I'm not too sure on it, guys. Moving on to a phenomenal card. You can see the 5 stars. She is Cassandra Nova. She's a 3/1. On reveal, steal 1 power from each card in your opponent's deck. And this is not a Season Pass card. It's not a Spotlight card. We're actually getting this through Deadpool's Diner. This is a new game mode coming. We don't know the full details on it yet. But we basically been told that it should be fairly easy to get Cassandra Nova through this game mode if you're engaging with it, well. So as long as you... basically, it's like a... I think it's a bit like poker tables, right? And you can snap loads of times, and you start, instead of cubes, it uses bubs, and the bubs starts at something like 10 or something, so it can like double and quadruple and whatever. So the totals of what you can win are massive, and then it's got this reward track which rewards you for reaching certain levels, and I also believe you can't drop below certain amounts of bubs. So it's interesting. Basically what I'm trying to say is it should be quite easy to get Cassandra Nova. Which is good because she's phenomenal. She's really, really good. If you play her on curve, so on turn 3, she's a 3/7. not only is she that 3/7, which is just generally a fantastic stat line, really good raw stats, but you're also doing that -1 power to every card they play or every card they draw after that, which can be particularly devastating against things like Iron Man, or, you know, all those cards that people are playing at the moment because they're like the Fastos and this Okoye sort of Nakia deck style has been played quite a lot recently. And it's quite fun. I've been playing it myself and it is actually quite fun to play. So you get the added benefit of the Affliction, but that's just her as a base card. That's not even with you playing towards her strengths. So if you look at the key synergies I've got on here, I've got the High Evolution, evolved version of Abomination. But what about Korg and Rock Slide? Slinging those rocks into their deck. Maybe you've played both of those, Korg and Rock Slide, and then you bring out Cassandra Nova on turn 4. That makes her like an 8 or 9 power card. Really strong stuff. Now, ideally speaking, you do want to play her on curve anyway, because it means you're getting more of their cards and getting that greater benefit. So yeah, she's incredible. And to be honest, she actually synergizes well with the last card that we spoke about, Ajax. So Cassandra Nova is absolutely incredible, and I massively rate the fact that Second Dinner are releasing this as part of a free event that everyone's going to be able to take part in. And it basically means everyone has a really good shot at getting this card. So this is good card acquisition. Thank you, Second Dinner. Just need more improvements to the rest of it, but this is certainly a good start. But moving on finally to the last card of the month, this is Copycat. She is a 3/5. When you draw this, steal the text from the bottom card of your opponent's deck. I think potentially the best card of the month. Potentially better than Cassandra Nova. I mean, Cassandra Nova is extremely good, but Copycat is a different gravy. She is a different breed of good because her ability triggers even if you don't play her. So you get the value from her even if you don't play her. That is so good. And as you can see, some synergies that I've put on screen here, Korg and Rock Slide. So we've got 2 cards in a row that benefit from Korg and Rock Slide. And you might be thinking, how does that benefit Korg and Rock Slide? Well, you have Copycat in your deck. You don't even need to draw it, and you steal the text from the bottom card of their deck. Now, first and foremost, that gives you information, so you know that they don't have that card. This is a similar kind of information gain to something like Cable, where you draw something from them, they don't know what you've got, and you now can use that information to whether you're going to snap or whatever happens. Now, admittedly, we don't know if Copycat actually shows your opponent yet. I think she might reveal herself and show your opponent which ability she stole. So we'll have to wait for the developer update video to get confirmation of that. However, even if she does reveal, I still think she's incredible. The synergy with Korg and Rock Slide is you shuffling their deck. So you steal the ability from one of their cards, and then if you play Korg or Rock Slide, you shuffle their deck, and they might draw it. Because usually with Copycat, they're not going to draw the card that you've copied the ability from because it's on the bottom of their deck. So they weren't going to draw it anyway, so technically it hasn't hurt them. Excuse me. Other than it's given you information and something else crucial as well. But playing Korg and Rock Slide, it shuffles it, so they then have a chance at getting a dead draw. Not only that, they have the chance of drawing the rocks. So super good with those two. All of that aside, Copycat just copying the ability of one of their cards is absolutely crazy. You're potentially, like, imagine if you copy Iron Man. You've now got 3/5 Iron Man. Absolutely crazy. I think this card is nuts. I wouldn't be massively surprised if it gets tweaked or OTA'd before release. But yeah, overall, I think this season is amazing. What do you think of it? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.